Pisces, welcome to your monthly horoscope for February 2025. My name is Adeana. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in this video, I will be going over all of the major themes, topics, and energy you will be navigating for the month ahead. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. So, before we get into the horoscope, I just want to go over all of the transits that we're going to have for February. So, February 1st, we have Venus forming a conjunction to Neptune. And then a few hours later, Venus is going to form a conjunction to the North Node. And then February 3rd, we will have Mercury in Aquarius forming a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Gemini at 11 degrees. And February 4th, we have Venus entering Aries and Jupiter will be stationing direct. This happens, Venus will enter Aries and then Jupiter will station direct about an hour later. February 6th, we have the North Node Neptune conjunction in Pisces at 28 degrees. February 9th, we have our Mercury Sun conjunction, which is called a cazimi, and this is happening at 21 degrees of Aquarius. And also on February 9th, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, forming a trine to Saturn in Pisces at 18 degrees. Then on February 10th, we are going to have Mercury in Aquarius forming a square to Uranus in Taurus at 23 degrees. February 12th, we have our full moon in Leo at 24 degrees. And I'm not going to touch too much on the lunations in the horoscope video because I post separate forecasts when I go going into the new moons and the full moons for the month, where I pull up the chart and I get into the energy of the moon and also all 12 rising signs. So make sure you watch for those forecasts. Now, February 14th, we have Mercury entering Pisces. February 18th, we have the Sun entering Pisces. February 23rd, we have Mars stationing direct in Cancer at 17 degrees. That's going to be a really big energy shift. February 25th, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces at 20 degrees. And then on February 27th, we have our new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees. Now, this is not going to be an eclipse, but it is still going to be quite powerful and still bring in energy, themes, and events that will play out with that whole nodal story. Which, speaking of the lunar nodes, if you have not checked out my lunar node forecast, make sure you do so because I get into what the lunar nodes are, the energy of the North Node being in Pisces and the South Node being in Virgo, and I also get into all 12 rising signs. So, coming into the first week, February 1st, we have the Venus North Node Neptune conjunction, which is happening in your first house. So, you're feeling a lot of this energy, and you have the North Node transiting your first house and the South Node transiting your seventh. And so, there's going to be a lot of changes over the next 18 months with the nodes transiting your first and your seventh house. Having the North Node in your first house, because the North Node represents something new, a new direction, a new journey, something new, and it has to do with you because that first house is you, your character, your personality, your physical body, how you view the world, how you want the world to perceive you. This is you. So there's something about you that is changing, whether your perception of the world, or maybe just a completely new life direction. And having the South Node in the seventh house of relationships and one-on-one connections can is going to bring changes within all of your one-on-one connections or relationship or your business partner. It can bring somebody back from the past, or it can indicate needing to release and let people go because they're just no longer in alignment with you. Now, February, so what I was going to say is all of the activations that we're having in Pisces, um, are going to be at that 28 degrees. If you have your ascendant near 28 degrees where we're having the Venus North Node conjunction, because that North Node's going to be at 28 degrees for quite a while. So there's that degree point is pretty sensitive. And if you have your ascendant in these later degrees of Pisces, then these energies are going to feel more personal and more intense. Also, we have Venus stationing retrograde March 1st. So, whatever Venus is doing throughout the month of February, we want to be paying attention to what is showing up for us: themes, topics, events. Venus rules our self-love, self-worth, especially being in like that first house. Because Venus is going to station retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries and move back to 24 degrees of, yeah, 24 degrees of Pisces. So right in this area here. So Venus will form a conjunction to the North Node and Neptune again uh, during the retrograde phase, and then again through the post shadow. So whatever is kind of brought up now, you will be revisiting that. There's something around, that energy. Now, February 3rd, Mercury in Aquarius is going to form a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Gemini at 11 degrees. So, Mercury is here in Aquarius in your 12th house, and the 12th house rules things, people, places that are hidden, the subconscious. Energy can get suppressed in the 12th house. Um, Rules karma, very spirituality, and then places that are hidden like hospitals, asylums, retreat centers, prisons. It's also the house of escapism, self-undoing, self-sabotaging, where you can get in your own way. So with Mercury and also having like that Mercury Cazimi in the 12th house too, there can be, I mean, this could show up as like really powerful intuitive downloads because it's like spiritual, the 12th house, spirituality, but forming a trine to Jupiter in Gemini, which is in your fourth house of home, family, property, and real estate. There can be some really beautiful support coming in because it is that trine, which is positive. It can be bringing in some type of opportunity too, like maybe having a conversation with a family member, having a conversation with someone. Yeah, this is just, hearing some type of news information. Also, pay attention to your thoughts this day. There can be something really insightful. February 4th, we have Venus entering Aries, which is in your second house of money, finances, material possessions, personal values. So, again, we want to pay attention to what Venus is bringing up for us because we will be revisiting those themes and topics. Also, on February 4th, we have Jupiter stationing direct. So sometimes during uh, Jupiter direct time periods, things can show up and we tend to over exaggerate them, or they seem a lot bigger than they are, whether it's like a negative experience or a positive experience. But because Jupiter is that planet of expansion, it's like something is like inflated or like over dramatic in some sense. So just watch on that day for, kind of what is showing up for you. It may seem like it's big, but not as big as you think. February 6th, we have the North Node and Neptune conjunction in Pisces at 28 degrees. So again, that 28 degrees. Um, and this is just like a lot of Neptunian energy because Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Then having the North Node in Pisces, it's like amping up all of this energy around creativity, romance, intuition. It's also a very emotional energy. And then there's the lower aspects of Pisces and Neptune, which is escapism, drugs, alcohol, addiction. So we have to be very mindful and have self-awareness at this time if that is something you struggle with, because the energy is there to very easily go down that path. Um, Especially, in February with this Neptune North Node conjunction. It's just, yeah, really intense. So you definitely want to have self-awareness for what is showing up for you. And then also too, because Neptune can sometimes confuse situations, or this is where we can over idealize people, partners. There can be deception because that's all ruled by Neptune. Now, February 9th, we have the Mercury Sun conjunction, which is the Mercury cazimi. A cazimi is when the Sun and Mercury come within 11 minutes. And this is happening in your 12th house. So, like I said, there can be, an epiphany or some insight or intuitive download or a really important conversation. Um, where something sticks out. So I do recommend journaling the whole month of February just because we are in this energy of revisiting a lot that is going to be showing up for us. Also on February 9th, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, forming a trine to Saturn in Pisces at 18 degrees. So Saturn is here in your first house. Um, if you have, I mean, yeah, depending on where your ascendant is, Saturn can, be there on top. But this is going to be really supportive because it's a trine, and you have Mars transiting your fifth house of children, creativity, romance, hobbies. Whatever you do for fun is kind of in that fifth house. The Mars retrograde in Cancer, though, has been bringing a lot of emotions to the surface from like past trauma or events, especially around home and family. So when we have this trine to Saturn, there can be some really beautiful supportive energy coming in to help you navigate whatever you've been moving through in that area. This can also have to do with children, something really positive, supportive showing up around children. And then we get to the second week of February, and on February 10th, we have Mercury in Aquarius forming a square to Uranus and Taurus at 23 degrees. So this is where we can experience a bit of anxiety because Mercury rules our mind. Uranus rules the electrical systems in our body, so Uranus can sometimes bring on anxiety. So we do want to watch for that. This is also when we can hear, something on the news, social media that's a little bit disruptive because it's got that Uranus energy of disruption and shock. On February 12th, we will have our full moon in Leo at 24 degrees, and you have Leo in your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine. So those themes and topics are going to be highlighted at this time. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the full moon. However, think back 6 months prior, the intentions that you set at the time of the new moon, now is when you can see those intentions come to fruition. February 14th, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So Mercury is going to enter your first house, bringing more focus to you, what you're doing, your direction. And again, it's your appearance, it's your character, your personality, your physical body. Like this first house really represents you. So there's quite a lot going on with you and what you are kind of putting out into the world, who you want to be. You're going through, massive changes. Then we get to the third week of February, and on the 18th, we have the sun entering Pisces, more focused to that first house. And on the 23rd, we have Mars stationing direct in Cancer at 17 degrees. So we've had Mars retrograde since December 6th. Mars stationed retrograde in Leo and move back to Cancer. And then on the 23rd, Mars is going to station direct, move back over Leo. So we've actually been in this Mars retrograde energy since October 5th is when Mars first entered pre-shadow, which is when Mars or when a planet enters pre-shadow, when they start to hit the degree points, they're going to retrograde over. And so that's why, now Venus is in pre-shadow, because she's at those degree points that she's going to retrograde over. And that is when we can really get some insight to themes, topics, events, and energy we'll be moving through during the retrograde period. And then during the post-shadow period is when we get resolution, clarity, when we can start kind of putting the pieces together to whatever we were navigating during that whole cycle. So, whatever Mars retrograde brought up for you in this sixth and fifth house, which the fifth house is children, romantic partnerships, your hobbies, what you do for fun, what you do, your creative projects and everything you do for fun and enjoy doing is in that fifth house. If you like to gamble, it's in the fifth house. If you like to swim, it's in the fifth house. Dance, it's in the fifth house. So there's been a lot of maybe rethinking, things around that. Or again, children. Children are in the third house. And then the sixth house is work, health, and daily routine. So your career is in the 10th house, but the labor that you put into your work is in the sixth house. What you do on a day-to-day basis is in the sixth house, at home and at work. Your routines, and then also your health. Um, and pets, employees, if you own a business, that's all in the sixth house. So there can be, a lot that you've been rethinking, reevaluating, reassessing in these areas of life. Then we get to the fourth week of February, and on the 25th, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces at 20 degrees. So if your ascendant is near this 20 degrees, I would say within like a degree or two. I mean, usually it's like within 5 degrees, but the closer you get after that, it becomes more intense, more personal. And when we're talking about Saturn, which rules commitment, responsibility, boundaries, um, also limitations, restrictions. Sometimes Saturn can bring challenge and hardship and life lessons, which can be a thing with that Saturn in the first house. Saturn may be bringing in a lot of life lessons through this transit in the first house because it's opposing your seventh house. It can be life lessons in relationships and how you connect to people. With the Mercury conjunction to Saturn, there can be a really hard conversation that you're having with someone, or maybe you hear something that's a little bit challenging with that energy. Mercury also rules your fourth house of home, family, property, and real estate, and your seventh house of relationships. So it could also have to do with, your home or a family member, um, or, if you're selling your home or, something along those lines. So, Pisces, I hope this helps you navigate the energy for February. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you align with my energy and enjoy my content. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, I have put the link in the description below. I offer a few different consultations, pre-recorded readings. There's birth chart readings, solar return readings, lunar return readings. So check that link out. And yeah, if you're interested, and I will connect with you in the next one.